Hello again, Andy with Handy Andy, and we are out today taking a look at some inspection repairs for our property one of our clients has under contract to buy in Marietta. And so there's just a couple things we're looking at. We're looking at the rotted wood. There's not a lot of it, but you've got rotted double corner boards right here and here. Not an easy repair to make. The fluted trim around the front entry is just rotted at the bottom. So we just cut that foot out down here at the bottom, cut it level with the brick on either side and replace those with pressure treated caps. The dormers both have the same issue over the garage, and we're in the light now, so it's kind of hard to see it, but if you look way back into this corner back here, the fascia and soffits are rotted on both sides of these, so they just need to be replaced. When you have gutter covers like this, gutter helmet in place, got to hand clean that edge once a year or it doesn't work. And you can kind of see where they've had repair issues where someone's come in and replaced this piece of fascia right here because the water's getting behind the gutters, and you can actually see it streaking under the gutters here and other places around the house. The real repair issue on this particular property, the trim is minor stuff. You know, we do that stuff all day long. The key with trim like that is to back prime and seal all faces of the wood, and it'll never rot again. And if you don't, you can see what happens. Like probably 5 or 6 years ago, they replaced the siding on this chimney. They replaced this trim right here, and they pretty much made an almost horizontal cut right here in the trim. And so you can start to see it starting to rot up here because the caulk failed, it rotted down here. Same thing over here, same thing up here at this joint. So we need to replace about 10 feet, go above these cuts, and do a weather cut, back prime and seal all that trim so it won't rot again. Whenever we do trim repairs like that, we've got a lifetime of ownership warranty on it. Now here is the deck back here, and so this was built some time ago, and the inspector pointed out a number of issues with the deck. Some of it is simple stuff. All these balusters right here are nailed. They need to be screwed top and bottom. Whoever constructed this deck decided to use an I-beam back here, which is great, but they did it in sections. And then they also didn't seal it up at the top. So all this darkness that you see up here is rust, and it's rusting on the upper edge on the outside plate as well. So we'll go through a bunch of things on the deck that the inspector pointed out. So this rim board out here needs to be doubled up, so we can sister that in. We would add, once it's sistered, we would add a new support post right in this area up against this inside of the gate right here, and we'd mirror that on the other side. The trick with this deck is they built a screen porch up there, so as long as this owner doesn't put a hot tub or get a whole bunch of weight up there, he'll be fine. But when you're looking at these posts right now, the main post holding weight is this middle post right here, the original metal post, and some of them are starting to rust. We can treat them with a special chemical that will literally turn that rusted metal back into metal, and then we can paint them. And as long as you keep them painted up, this seems to have an adequate footing here. I don't like metal posts like this on a single story deck. I'm not sure why they did it. Maybe because they're on the slope, or I don't really know. All this is going to subside a little bit over time. You can see the cracking in the patio back here. And someone came back in and added these wooden posts for additional support. And most of them, all three of them, there's 2 here and there's 1 here. They aren't really taking any weight. In fact, 2 of them you can move if you want to. So those really need to be supplemented. And our solution to this whole thing, at least for the support to take the weight, would be to come off the edge of this patio right here and build a tripled up support joist here, set on 3 posts that would go, 1 would start at the back edge down here where that grill is, 1 in the middle, and 1 just past where the I-beam is sistered, or is attached one piece to the other here. And we would drop another post right about in here. So it would give you about 16 feet on a triple header. And that's the most important part, to take the weight of this porch up here. And then we would continue all the way across. We'd do another section here that would go 3 posts, and it would go, the last post would be dropped on the other side of this gate down through here. And then a separate 2-post section that would be about 10 feet that would support. So that would help take all this load. It'd be set in 12 inches of concrete footers with standoffs, pressure treated 4x6s, and that'll take the weight. It's quite an underdoing to do that. We really need to pull a lot of these patches out, these little support patches. I'm assuming someone did this because the joists were starting to rot, and they came in with replacement boards and needed something to screw into. So that's what they did. I've done it a few times. It looks to me over time that debris is sat up on this deck and it'll rot your wood. Even pressure treated will rot. But all these here, you can see they've taken water, and there's one back here, right here, that didn't get, this is rotted through right here. So the right way to do this is not with pieces, but to run a whole new 2x8 sistered in here and pressure treated. And then we just make a sandwich out of it. We stagger it and screw it together, and then you're good. Once we treat this I-beam, we clear caulk it on this edge and the other edge, and then you can repaint it. And it should still last a lifetime. But you can see that where we are, like we're over a hill. We're on top of a hill looking down into a ravine down there. And then the other issue with this deck is it's all nailed together. And so this little ledger plate right here needs to be screwed. This, because it's not flashed above, has been taking water, so we got rot here. This plate underneath is rotted in here. So we'd pull this plate out, inspect it, sister in some new pressure treated materials here, so we can adequately bolt the deck back into the structure. All these individual joists need screwed in hangers. And it's a lot of work to do that. You can add inside corners all the way through here and screw them down. And it's really just tying all the structure together. And screws are forever, nails are temporary. All this stuff in here has been nailed. There's not a screw in this thing. And it runs all the way. Same thing here. We'd pull this plate down and just observe what we've got in there, add screws, add some pressure treated framing inside of it so that we can adequately bolt this and just strengthen. All we're trying to do is strengthen it up. Out here, you see where they've got a doubled up rim board here on the right side of this thing. And again, we're gonna set a post right in this area right here where it'll come up to attach here. And we're just trying to strengthen and reinforce this whole setup. But if you watch one of these posts, I think it's this one. This one moves, or is it this one? One of them, a couple of these guys move. I know that one down there moves, and I think this one, the second post, moves. So they're really not holding anything right now. We'd like to take the weight where we've got these patches, where they've got the plates tying the I-beam together. And you can see they've moved a little bit over time. And I forget the last thing I want to point out. There's other things he may want to do here, like obviously, you know, replacing this landing up here. And we do all that stuff. The good thing about HandyANdy is we do it all. We got 30 guys. We've been doing this stuff for almost 30 years in Atlanta. A little bit of everything. We do a ton of deck repairs. Half of our business is inspection repairs. But once he reinforces this deck, it should be here for a lifetime. Again, provided he doesn't put a hot tub up there. He's got plenty of room down here on this pad. Putting hot tubs up on decks where it's nice and convenient, it's really problematic because you're adding tons of weight, and decks like this are not built for that. When you look at the deck, you can see this back corner has shifted a little bit and is bowed out on that footing. These footings, you have to realize that it started out with this post centered on the footing more than likely, and it's almost off the edge right now. So it's all kind of shifting back. By coming in and building up against here, against the patio, we've got more support underneath it, and you can cantilever this porch out the way that it is. We leave the I-beam in place. Taking that thing out of there really doesn't serve any purpose. I'd rather double it up, and if we place the post properly, it's not really going to bother anybody. And our owner, our buyer, still has room back here if he wants to make a screen porch or something down here, he can. So that's the run through on this. I'm Andy with HandyANdy. My brother and I pretty much do everything. You can find us at 770-265-9017. This kind of stuff here, the drainage, this all needs to be replaced. You can't use corrugated pipe like this. You can't use flex pipe like this. It'll just clog and make a mess. I'm guessing he's catching the gutter up here with it, and you just want to do that. In time, you want to do what he's done here. He's got 4-inch metal pipe here, run it into 4-inch PVC, and just get it away. It's a little more expensive to do it, but you can add nice clean house and keep that stuff flowing. We get 5 to 10 drainage projects a week here to bid because it causes so much trouble. Landscapers do this stuff with this corrugated pipe, and it's just a recipe for disaster. Don't use your landscapers for that stuff. Use contractors. You'll pay a little bit more, but it'll get done right the first time. I'm Andy. See you in the next house. Bye for now.